for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up tonight would be to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor with an aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries. Item 4 would be public forum. Sarah, are there any cards? There are no cards. We're going to move right on. Item 5 tonight would be reports. And the first report would be from Sean Williams and Lisa Cochran from the city of Owatonna. We have Troy Klecker here as well. If the three of you would like to make your way up. And under normal circumstances, Dr. Champa would also be doing a bit of introduction here, but because all of this is rather new for all of us as a board, both of you welcome. If you'd like to come on up, make some introductions of yourselves, and do you want to
Turn on the mic.
would it be easier if we slide another chair up there for you?
Yeah, we can stand, that's fine.
You don't mind?
Whatever you prefer.
You'll just have to turn on the mic there.
Like that?
Green.
Okay. Can you guys hear us okay? Okay.
And we will just double check. And Ben, are you able to pick it up okay on the mics when they're speaking? Yep, he's got it. The good thumbs up. All right.
Lisa Cochran, Main Street Director here in Owatonna with the Chamber.
I'm Sean Williams. I'm the Executive Director of the Owatonna Area Business Development Center.
All right.
Cool.
It's all yours. Take it away.
It's all ours.
All right.
Perfect. Well, we're bringing a really cool idea. We want to tell you about it. And so this is where we start.
Yeah, so this whole concept started with Urban Loft closing downtown and us, Lisa specifically, identifying the need for a retail incubator space. Like, what can we do with these open spaces downtown?
And especially the Urban Loft building, if you know where Urban Loft was located in the Zamboni building, such a beautiful building, a very large space. So my first thought, without talking to anybody, like the building owner or anything, my first thought was, oh, what a cool space to have a retail incubator and have like little compartments for people to sell their what they make in there. And so I brought that to Sean and we kind of talked about it, but then it kind of grew into
Yes.
something bigger.
So just to give you all some background on how we've gone about this process, it started out just like Lisa described, where talking to staff, and then as we move forward, we identified potential roadblocks, barriers, speed bumps, that kind of thing. And so we looped in more staff with the appropriate partners, organizations, to basically test the waters, see if our idea was still viable, that kind of thing, before eventually getting to the point we're at now, which is advancing the conversation to the board level. So, so where we landed is, and the slides aren't exactly lining up with the screen, I apologize, but yeah. Partnering with you all for the Rose Street Center and the shops on Rose Street, as we're calling it.
So what spurred the conversation after we talked about a retail incubator in that space, and after talking to the building owner and his vision for it, and he was open to different ideas, but he had already had somebody in his ear talking about what they wanted to do, which is in fruition at this time. I saw a presentation when I was at the National Main Street Conference about a retail incubator that was like shops. And so it's located in Batavia, Illinois. This is a picture of their retail incubator there. And so shared that with Sean, and we're like, ooh, this maybe could be something that we could see happen. So
the big question then was kind of where to put it, right?
Yeah.
And then that's when we landed on the Rose Street Center.
Yeah. Why do we think this will work in Owatonna? Well, first off, I know that we have lots of entrepreneurs and small business people in Owatonna. That's just, we've always had that, and the high school has it, and other people. So that was our first, do we have people that will come? Yes, they will come. So the research was done with Batavia being a town of about 26,000 and about 45 miles to 60 miles away from a major metro area, so kind of like us. They're in the same season climate as we are, and so the seasons are very similar. So what they did is they built 8 shops. They did that obviously with the date, right in the midst of COVID. They had a lot of volunteers that were willing to come and build these shops. They put theirs on an empty space that the city owned that they, at that time, were not using. So there was no fee for them to go there. However, they do know that if the city decides to do something with that area, they have to up and move. But she said, at this time, there is no discussion. So she feels pretty safe about that. And when I say she, it's the Main Street Director at Batavia. They added 2 more shops for a total of 10. They're not really looking to expand. 10 is a good number for them. And it's really become a tourist attraction and destination besides helping their entrepreneurs. So after 4 years, and I haven't updated this, but I have talked with Beth since that. They've had a total of 35 tenants come in and out of the shops. 19 are currently in brick and mortar locations within their downtown area. And they did $1.5 million in sales total. And so when I talked to her, I asked, are those businesses all still in business? And she said, we had one move to a bigger location that isn't downtown. So pretty successful. That doesn't mean they had 19 empty buildings to fill. It meant that some of those entrepreneurs are working together now and in a building together, sharing the expense of running a business.
And that success with the brick and mortar stores was really kind of the linchpin for us that like, okay, this is something we need to pursue because having the empty retail storefronts downtown is a goal that, you know, the entire city wants to see filled. So having a path forward for that made this a viable option for us.
Yep, absolutely.
So in addition to the shops, which would be located outside, obviously, we would have a number of other functions within Rose Street Center, including an indoor retail incubator that would be open year-round, and we'll talk to that point a little bit later. A co-working space, which is something we've identified for a number of years as there being interest in town for that. A maker space, which we already are in the process of growing out at the OABDC. That could be located at the Rose Street Center as well as a welcome center for all of Owatonna, including all the different populations within our city. And then also a food truck spot, which we hit on a couple of different structures just recently that we're super excited about. And then in the future, potentially a commercial kitchen as well, which is another need that keeps coming up on a regular basis for us.
And the food truck, the food trucks, it's not just to have a food truck there to serve food. These are people that have been running a food truck that really want to open a brick and mortar or feel that that's their next step. So those are the food trucks that we would be inviting in to, test the waters a little bit more and see, what kind of feedback they get as well.
So the path forward, or the funnel for entrepreneurs, basically, is that they would go through our educational offering, which is Co-Starters, which we do in partnership with Community Ed. And then they would also sign up as Small Business Development Center clients, which is free to them through the OABDC. And then if they needed the makerspace and co-working space functionality, they'd have access to that as well. Then as they're making stuff to sell, they could have a booth at the indoor retail incubator site, which would be, again, a small booth, before graduating to a shop outside, which could then lead them to a brick and mortar store downtown. So Rose Street Center, obviously, is where we're looking to house this. Obviously, you all own it, so that's why we're here today. And then this is kind of an overview of how we're envisioning it. We've had some conversations with the city about some logistical stuff that there's going to be some tweaking to this, but basically the blue rectangles would be the shops, the red rectangles would be parking spots for the food trucks, and then the yellow rectangle is city mandated additional parking to cover the additional occupancy.
It was hard for me to understand this. So this is Rose Street out here.
Up at the top of
Up at the very top.
Yeah.
And then this is the building, of course. And something somewhat of a new development would be, to start with, we're going to put the shops all on one side. They're up to the building, not right up to the building, but next to the building.
Because isn't the entrance in the yellow over there?
The entrance is up here at the top.
No, I'm sorry.
Right
The
there.
entrance to the lot. Isn't that,
The entrance to the lot,
yeah, it's right there. Okay.
Yeah, the entrance is up at the top
Right
up
here,
here.
Yep,
and then
okay.
you kind of go in.
Yep.
And so,
We would be opening up an exit on the south end of the lot, so it would be a one-way parking lot. And we've walked all this with the city, and handicap accessibility is all feasible there. We're meeting all of the needs on the city side of things. And then we'd also be putting in a handicap accessible ramp up at the north end of the shops where there's currently a wall and a little like flag display. So that would make that accessible as well. So
Is Lot 2 owned by the school district, or is that?
it's owned by the city.
it's a city parking lot.
Yep.
And then that butts right up to the Eagles.
Okay, that's
So
what
if
I
you're
was
kind of thinking along those lines. So yeah, that will be extra parking as well as the lot that we'll have in yellow.
Yeah. So again, like
And
those
that'll,
are.
that'll stay one way as well?
Yes, it is. Yep. And so the, again, like all of these conversations basically went with, okay, is this accessible? Is this feasible? So we went to the city and talked with Ken Beck and were able to validate that, yeah, we could actually pull this off and have it function legally. So,
We also worked with an architect as well, and that's why, to start off, we're going to have all the shops along the building because it will be easier for electricity, to put in electricity, which the shops will have electricity. No water, but electricity.
so just some sample uses for the spaces inside the building, for those of you who aren't familiar with it. We'd have the retail incubator in here. There's a restroom off of here that would be available anytime the shops outside are open. The retail incubator inside would be open as well. So those restrooms would be accessible. We'd have a co-working space inside, maker space up where the print shop used to be, and then the welcome center and some offices there. And again, like the big thing that kind of got us excited, in addition to the outcome of having brick and mortar stores be generated through this process, was the collaboration just across the entire community and all the organizations, both public and private, in order to make this happen.
This is my favorite screen right
Yeah.
here because it shows how many entities that will be working together to make this happen. Of course, the public schools, not only are we coming to you asking, to lease this building from you, but we plan on the shops themselves are like a shed, an upgraded shed. And so we've already spoke with the building teacher, and the building class will be building those. We have the materials for 4 sheds, sitting out at the Business Development Center right now, thanks to a deed grant. And so that's really exciting as well. The city of Owatonna, of course, has been a huge part of this from almost the beginning. Owatonna Public Utilities, because the city would be leasing, they will do contributed services, which is huge for that. Chamber of Commerce, of course, that's where I come from, Main Street, and full support there. And then, of course, Sean's the makerspace and the development center. But back with the schools, we really want to utilize students. They'll be building the shops. We want to utilize DECA students or students that are maybe interested in marketing or retail or business. We really want that to be a huge part of this partnership in bringing students down to a business that's, a business, hoping to use them to help out some of the shop owners if for some reason they can't be there, working with them, training them, kind of mentoring, and possibly having a second site for the school store to sell things down there, especially around the holidays, I think, or homecoming. And so we've been talking about all the different ways that really we can have those students involved in this above just the building of the shops.
So as we were hinting at, the city of Owatonna, what we're proposing would hold the lease for 3 years. OPU would be contributing services, so we wouldn't have those expenses with utilities to cover. Main Street program would oversee the shops, food trucks, and the retail incubator. OABDC would oversee the co-working space and the maker space. And then we have a partner identified with the Welcome Center who's put together a proposal and submitted it and would be a great, again, partner to sublease the space. The shops, do you want to elaborate and get into the specifics?
Yeah, so the shops actually are 12 by 12, and they have a 4-foot porch, if you will, on the front with double doors. So they're opening to a space that will contribute to their little 12 by 12, and it does have an overhang. They have to provide their own insurance for these, but they can do whatever they want to inside that fits what they're selling. There will be a lease or rent payment. We haven't got in the nitty-gritty about that, but there will be a lease that they will have to sign, and then they will be paying for that. The electricity, obviously, we've got the OPU on board with that, and the air conditioning and heat is a unit that goes into each shop and can cool and heat as much as we'll need it to, during the hot and the cooler months. Like Sean said, the bathrooms will be accessible. They'll have to do their own point-of-sale system and insurance. And the big thing that I really like about this as well is because Main Street is kind of overseeing it, we are going to have enforced hours. And so it's a big thing that I get talked about, or people ask me about a lot, is I brought friends over to, we had lunch at Roma's and then we wanted to go shopping and there was nothing open on Saturdays. So we don't have it, pinpointed, but we're looking at Thursday evenings and Fridays, kind of like normal, Saturdays at least till 4 or 5, and then 3 or 4 hours on Sunday. And we're hoping that by doing that, the businesses that we have downtown will join in that fun.
Yeah. So again, as Lisa identified earlier.
Lisa, before you guys jump ahead, can you talk about the calendar year that will also be embedded for?
Yep.
Or did I jump ahead? I'm sorry.
We're kind of jumping around, so it's all
Okay, no, then pause my, take back my question. I will wait till the end. Sorry.
Yeah,
It's okay.
I can't remember exactly where we have it, but since I mentioned it, I might as well.
Yeah, exactly.
We plan on the shops being open May through mid-December, or somebody, I think at the last presentation said December 24th, because we do have people that shop. Yeah, there you go. I remember.
Yep, totally married to that.
Yeah, and then closed for January, February, March, and April. It's dependent on weather so much. April could be a month that they could be open, but we're just saying May through December right now. And that's just because of where we live and the coldness, and probably not as many people wanting to go out and walk around some shops when it's that cold.
Is that similar to the group in Illinois then too, that they're kind of May to December?
Yes, yep, exactly.
And the leases would be for one season, so then the goal being that they graduate beyond that. So this isn't like somebody, leases one shop and stays there forever. Like there is, a path out as well.
Yep. Did that answer?
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
That's what you meant.
Yep, that's what I was looking for. Thank you.
So as Lisa said, we've secured grant dollars and then secured the materials to build for the shops that are already out at the OAVDC. Again, as I mentioned earlier, we've identified those accessibility issues and have a partner organization that has offered to make those accessibility issues get addressed. We've also identified a couple of grants. And there's potential for the Owatonna Foundation as well to come on board for any additional ones. But as of right now, we have all the costs covered. The local partners, again, if we need additional materials, are an option. And then with the trade classes at the high school, Carpentry 1, Carpentry 2, being able to build the sheds in succession so that the students get that full experience of putting the frame together and then insulating it and then having overseen electrical installed so it's all up to code. We've already had those discussions with the trade classes. So
So the enforceable hours just to have that activity that's happening downtown that's not during those hours now. We also want it to be a tourist destination. Of course, we want local people to shop, but local people can't keep stores locally. Small owned businesses open. It's not just the community. So we have to bring in people. And so Glenda Smith, our tourism director at the Chamber, is so excited about this as well and is already thinking about different ways that we can, put this out there and to entice people to come to Owatonna. And then it's really a nice anchor at the north end of Cedar there. The location, I think, is spot on. It's not right on Cedar, but it's right around the corner. And there's some other retail businesses there, but I think it's a great way to get people down there on that end and just to encourage them to walk our pedestrian-friendly streetscape down to the farmer's market or, the Zamboni Center. We want to work together so that when people come, they're like, ooh, this is fun. We've got a lot of stuff that we can do. We can spend the day downtown.
So again, as we've already kind of hinted at, just like the community support around the entrepreneurship that goes along with this project as well. So we heard from organizations like Businesses Downtown already that said, it would be great if I had this when I was coming up. And then on the flip side, I would love to be the mentor for folks who are coming through this. So already validating that opportunity there. The other feedback that we heard from talking with entrepreneurs and landlords downtown is that they see this as an opportunity to scout potential tenants, to either give them like a discounted rent coming into it, knowing that they already have a viable business that is solid and built on solid foundations, and then it helps fill that problem on both sides of things. And then also with we've heard from local businesses that want to experiment with potential new product lines that conflict with their existing brands, and this would be a way to try it out small and then grow it into its own business separately. So great for existing businesses and landlords as well.
Will there be like an online presence for this then too? So like people could like scout it out, before coming there, or is there?
We'll definitely have an online presence in the fact that that's how we'll market. If one of the shop owners wants to sell online, that's totally up to them. But we'll be marketing it that way and using it as a whole to entice people. Pictures, special events. I've already got somebody that said, I'll be a Santa for you. And so we can have Santa at the shops on Rose and stuff like that. So definitely we'll be using that as marketing.
But each retailer will have its own online store, obviously, if they want that or not.
Yep, and we talked, we didn't put every single detail in this, but, just that marketing, what we can do and what Tourism Visit Owatonna can do is going to help them as well. There's a lot of things to think about, and we're hoping that we're alleviating some of the monetary stress and some of the time maybe put into some of these. We expect them to do a lot of their own marketing as well, but we will be marketing for them as well.
Yeah, just to piggyback on that, because that is one of the major hurdles that we see at the OEBDC and that you see too, is going from, hey, I've got this online store in my house, and now I'm going to paying $2,500, $4,000 a month in rent plus insurance plus everything else. Like, that is a huge leap, and so this kind of eases those retailers into growing their own store and validating their customer base. So. Obviously, yeah.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Do you foresee it being just retail shops versus services? Such as somebody wants to do massage therapy or hair or, something like that?
Mm-hmm.
I think I would like to start with retail just because we're calling it a retail incubator, but that doesn't mean that other businesses can't. What I've learned from Batavia is they do have a pretty lengthy application form, and they have non-Main Street people looking at that and then making the decision of what may be the best fit. They, like I said, they have 12 sheds, and they had, what did I say, 32 applications this year. I mean, it's still a thing. It's still a place that people want to be. So I wouldn't rule it out.
Lisa, maybe just to follow up on that, do they provide you any indication of the life of this larger vision and project? In other words, they've been doing it, what, 5 years?
2020, yep.
Now?
Yeah.
Anything slowing down? They still have applicants, or what
Yeah,
is
I mean,
their-
like I said, she said we still get applicants that we have to turn away because it is still very viable for new entrepreneurs. I think she said they've had a couple repeat with like a new brand, or they're expanding something and they want to try it, just that. So, I mean, really, we'll have rules, obviously, and guidelines, but, you know, we want it to be a place where entrepreneurs can start out whatever they're starting out with, so.
To your question about services, though, like, you know, we're not going to have water in the shops. So if it's like a hairdresser who needs access to water, that's not going to be viable. But, you know, with the co-working space inside, if it's, you know, somebody who's a carpenter and they just need that business address to, you know, be based out of, take meetings from, either at the co-working space or out at the OEBDC, like we can already serve those entrepreneurs. So,
And the Rose Street Center would be open year-round?
yes, yeah. So the retail incubator inside would be open year-round versus the outside shops, which would only be those, you know, May to December seasonal. And then the co-working space, obviously, and the maker space would all be year-round as well.
Is this makerspace distinct from the one I recall hearing about, maybe at the?
It would be
Is
the
it an
same.
addition,
Yeah, we would
or-
relocate it out to Rose Street Center. So right now we have a full lapidary service that's out there, as well as 3D printer, laser cutter. They just reconstructed a loom for weaving, so we would just move all those classes and everything out to Rose Street if it was appropriate. So benefits for the public schools. Obviously, no cost to you all. We would be covering the insurance first through the city and then all the subleases from there. We'd be handling all the deferred maintenance. We know that the HVAC system is getting to its end of life. So if that goes kaput in the next 3 years, obviously we'd be handling that. Accessibility improvements, again, we already have partners identified to cover those costs and improvements. But then, as Lisa was talking about earlier, just the real world opportunities for the students, both with the carpentry classes, building the sheds, and then also with the entrepreneur classes and DECA and those kinds of things. Being able to, you know, cover for the shops for the mandated hours, right? If somebody wants to take a Sunday off, you know, we can have DECA students fill in to be that retailer, essentially. And then the mentorship, too, of like, this is how I'm growing my business, you know. We taught an entrepreneurship class through Options this past spring at the high school, and so that kind of partnership would be very viable at, you know, Rose Street as well. And again, opening up the high school store out on Main Street so they're interacting with real customers and not just other students and teachers is obviously invaluable as well. And then also too, just from my own experience in pitch coaching the DECA students and judging the regional competition as well, this gives those student businesses a real pathway forward where, you know, in the past it's a lot harder for students to create businesses, either because, you know, their parents need to sign off on stuff or, you know, signing a lease or whatever. It's, you know, the barriers are higher for high school students, so having this partnership would allow those barriers to be lower to make it easier for folks to move forward if they want to. That's our presentation.
All right, board members, questions?
I just have one, if that's okay.
Yeah.
So you mentioned a possible incentive being, you know, Owatonna landowners getting to offer incentives first. What other incentives will be in place to kind of prevent successful businesses in this incubator to leave Owatonna and go to alternative cities?
That's a great question.
question.
Yeah, that's the first time anyone's asked that.
Good.
It actually came from my youth. Yes. He does that a lot.
So obviously, the city needs to create new incentives. No, so that's a great question. So we help oversee the EDA loan programs. So, and just from personal experience, I can speak to Owatonna having really good incentive packages to keeping folks local. But then, I mean, we don't have anything enforceable that we can say, you can have a shop here, but you can never leave. So all we can do is just support those entrepreneurs as we, can as a city and, hope that they don't go elsewhere.
And I think having candid conversations with our building owners and seeing what they're willing to do when it comes right down to it. They're the ones that make the decisions for their buildings. And so maybe just having those conversations and, just keeping that line of communication open, because that's one of the biggest barriers I hear. The two biggest barriers I hear, and I talk with people that want to come here and open a business, or I get calls all the time. And the two biggest things are the cost to rent or lease a building and the amount of years on the lease. Some landlords are asking now for 5 years. And in this economy, nobody is ready to just say, oh yeah, I know I'm going to be awesome in 5 years, because nobody knows that. And so those are the two biggest barriers that what I see from entrepreneurs coming. And so just having those, those open conversations and letting our building owners know this is what we're hearing and what would you be willing to do.
And I think using this whole process as a validation mechanism for those landlords will incentivize them to lower their costs, lower the terms of the lease, the length of the lease, to make it easier for entrepreneurs to move in and to stay in. Great question.
Great question.
Yeah.
Board, any other questions? Because here's what, go ahead.
I have a couple,
Yeah.
but not as good as his, just a couple.
Follow that one.
Yeah, I know, I can't. I thought I heard you say applicants renew each year, so do you foresee somebody spending one season and sort of getting up and running, or do you expect, in fact, that they'll reapply and potentially?
We hope they get up and running. Now, we
Yeah,
do
I
understand that may be hard in that short of time, but we don't want the shops to become their permanent home, And so we would take applicants each year and again, make those decisions based on how many applicants we have and how many buildings we have and kind of go from there. It might be unrealistic to do that in 9 months, but it might not be. So, we're not going to cement something down and then have to backpedal. We'll keep it open.
But
To that.
the flip side of that is that after having the retail shops open for 9 months, is that they have that track record to then take to their lenders and say, look, we've been growing over the past 9 months. Will you give us, a loan in order to move out into our own space? And for a lot of the entrepreneurs,
Absolutely.
especially like the bakers and that kind of thing, like that's what they need because equipment's so expensive, or making sure that they have enough runway to take on that lease.
And we can help them with that. We have recently gotten Placer AI, if anybody has heard about that. But that is an application that tracks people's cell phones. And so if anybody was at Downtown Thursday, last Thursday, July 3rd, and you had your cell phone with you and it was on, you were counted and you were one of 4,360 people. So that's pretty cool. And so we will continue to be able to use that. I know, it's a little scary.
Yes.
But it's a great application for those types of things, and we can use those numbers. I think I said 4,000, sorry. Last month was 4,000, this was 3,600, sorry, 1,000 off. But we can use those numbers to help, this is how many people were in this area at this time. This is how many people have visited and so on. So I foresee using that as a tool as well.
And also just to track our own internal numbers
Yep.
for Rose Street and see how the visitors are ebbing and flowing and.
Where they're
you know.
coming from,
Yep.
because it gets it all.
How many people came to the parades last year? Do you know?
Last year, 5,000. It was about 5,400.
Is this the homecoming parade, or which parade are you?
Oh, I didn't do the homecoming parade, sorry.
The,
The lighted
winter.
parade.
Oh, the
Yeah.
winter.
And we can do the homecoming parade as well. I mean, we can go back 5 years. I think it's 5 or 7. But we can go back quite a few years.
I don't know if they got my permission to collect.
Yeah.
The call signing that. On your phone.
I didn't sign anything.
It's a little crazy to think about, but we don't see we don't see personal data. We do see where that phone lives, so we do see where people are coming from. And for June, we had people coming from all over. I mean, I think there were like 8 different states that people.
What I would like to suggest is if Bob could pull together a facilities committee meeting that would happen before our next work session. So issues, because we're going to walk out of this meeting and we're going to think of something in the parking lot and say, oh, I should have asked him. So if we can pull together a facilities meeting between now and the work session, we revisit this at our work session, really roll up our sleeves and get a sense that we feel as though most or all of our questions have been answered. And to the extent that the board wants to take action on that, we have then the option in the August meeting to proceed. So it gives us a nice runway. This was a great presentation, and I really like the manner in which you've laid it out, given us the high, bird's eye view of all of this. But if that sounds okay with all of you, I think that this is a good way for us to proceed. All right with that?
And if you do have questions, reach out. Our information is available at the Chamber website and the Business Development Center website. Some of you may have my cell phone, whatever, it doesn't matter to me. If you have questions, please ask, because that's what makes our presentation work, and we've changed it because of questions that have been asked.
Yep, we've got all the contact info for Sean.
I have one other just quick question though too. Your goal is to start in May, is that right? Next year then, hopefully?
Well, our goal is a lofty goal, Ron. It would be nice because the building classes are quarterly, and our goal is to have at least 2 sheds built by the end of the first quarter, of school, and then have potential tenants that would be willing to be in there for a month and capitalize on the holiday
In the
season.
fall, or in December?
This year, yeah.
Okay.
So
But besides our approval, is there any other significant challenges that you have?
right now, for starting this, no, we are very fortunate to have many people, helping with this to make it happen. So we can start whenever we get the lease done.
And before you leave, it's a good opportunity, Dr. Champa, anything in the very, very short period of time that you've been with us, but you had a little bit of an on-ramp, and this was talked about. Any questions that you might have right now?
Yeah, no, I don't think so. We do have all of the utilities, all of that prepared, so I think that'll be a good place for the facility committee and then the work session to review that too.
Yeah, because you won't be paying utilities if we're
Right.
there. You will be if we're not, until you sell
All
it.
right.
So.
Lisa, Sean, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you so
appreciate it.
much for your time. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
And then the second item that we have in reports tonight, item B, would be nutrition services and wellness update. This gives us an opportunity to have Dr. Champa make an introduction of Maria Terry.
All right, so welcome. Come on up. So tonight we have Maria Terry, our Director of Nutrition Services, going over a presentation for us.
Maria, you have a look on your face like, oh, I'm going to sit up in front and present? Yeah, I think Sarah has all your technology queued up for you up here.
Thank you. Do you mind if I sit?
Please do.
Okay.
Welcome.
Thank you.
We're glad you're here.
I'm Maria Terry, and I'm the Nutrition Services Director. And I took on the position last May, so I have.
Can I interrupt you just really quickly? Will you pull that microphone closer
Yes.
to you? Or maybe set it on, in between the keyboard and you?
Okay.
There you go. Perfect. Thanks.
There. Can you hear me now? No?
Was, you're going to have to use your teacher voice.
My teacher voice. I'm not a teacher. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. All right. I'm Maria Terry, and I'm the Director of Nutrition Services, and I've been in this position for since last May, so just over a year. And I just wanted to give you an overview of what we have been doing in this past year. So, okay. Sorry. This is new to me.
You're fine.
Fine.
Is it not working?
What's that?
The arrow on
On the keyboard.
On the keyboard?
Try the arrow.
There. Okay.
we've had issue here, it's not on. There.
Okay. All right. So we have the 7 self-operating kitchens, and we operate under the USDA child nutrition programs. We do the school breakfast and the National School Lunch Program, the Summer Food Service Program, which we have going on right now. And in addition, we cater for St. Mary's School for the lunch. And we have, I believe this is our third year that we've completed with that. So we have 46 total employees. Myself, there is a coordinator, a secretary, we have 1 courier, and each of the kitchens has a kitchen manager, and we have 1 assistant kitchen manager, and she is at the high school, and that is a new position that got started like last May, I believe. In addition, we have the 34 cook cashiers, and right before the previous director left, she had created these positions, this assistant kitchen manager, and she had moved everybody else, the food service assistants, up into the cook cashier position. So that's been nice. We've been doing more cross-training for all of the employees there. And then in addition, we have a few substitutes. So when I took on the role as director, I just looked overall, where are we at? Where do we want to go? Obviously, we want to be providing those nutritious and delicious meals to the students and staff and maintain a fiscally responsible operation. The staffing has been a challenge pretty much since COVID. There were, I believe, 10 positions that had not been filled prior to me taking the director position. And my goal was to get us filled up, because if we don't have staff, how can we feed the students? So with that, I really wanted to, look at the staff that we had and how can we maintain that staff, build some more camaraderie, and also boost the morale of these individuals. The attendance, I really wanted to focus on that too, because we have some staff who are wonderful. They are very conscientious about working. They're there every day. There are some staff that aren't there on as a good of attendance, I guess, as others. So just wanted to see how we could make some improvements there. And then, as I said before, just retaining the staff that we have. So some of the training that we do, before school starts, we get all the staff together. We do an all-day training. And this last year, we, in addition to going over the handbook and talking about our procedures and all the little details that we talk about every year, I wanted to focus on communication in the kitchens. So we talked about that for a while, and then we broke up into our different kitchens and we did some role playing. So we had different situations that come up, like we have so many different personalities in the kitchens. So some of the scenarios were regarding that. You know, you have the person who comes in and they chat and, you know, they want to chat to find out what everybody did over the weekend and, you know, do all that socializing. And then you have another person who's, you know, they come in and they just want to get to work and they just want to do their job and that. So it was just an opportunity for us to have some fun, really bring some of those situations to light because they do happen. And I think, you know, that we were pretty successful with everybody participating in that. In addition, we had a speaker come from the Food Safety Guy program. Her name was Michelle Hill, and she did a phenomenal job of talking about the food safety fundamentals. And then she also did a wonderful job of going over allergen management in school nutrition. So it was very worthwhile having her come. And I can talk about all of those things, food safety, allergens, that type of thing to the staff, but hearing it from somebody else, I think was, you know, very important for our staff to hear about. In addition to that all-day staff training, the kitchen managers, I meet with them every month, and this year we also focused on the Lead to Succeed program, which is about a 24-hour video program that is provided through the School Nutrition Association. So it gave us some opportunity to do some more deep diving into the communication styles and that. So that is some of the highlights of our training. So what all did we accomplish this year? It was a busy year. With me taking on the director position, that opened up the coordinator position. So I had to hire a new coordinator. With that, our secretary actually moved into the coordinator position, so that opened up the secretary position. I had to hire someone new there. And then, as I mentioned before, there were several positions that had not been filled for a while of the cook cashiers. So we hired 2 for the high school, 4 for the middle school. We really had to build up that team. We lost both of our head cooks, the main cooks for that. So we built them up. We got 2 more, or hired 2 cook cashiers for McKinley and 1 for Washington. So that was a big job. That was kind of my first couple months into the school year. Our courier also had an older truck, and he's the one that is bringing the meals every day from the OEC over to St. Mary's. And then he also is delivering food from our main kitchens, the high school and the middle school, and bringing it over to that OEC, and then also the elementary kitchens. So he is putting on lots of miles in that, and he needed a new truck. So that was a big project that we worked on, and we finally got him a new truck, and he was very instrumental in getting a really good truck and, you know, taking care of all of that information, that things that I wasn't very familiar with. So we purchased new combi ovens for the Lincoln Elementary School. We got those up and running, and we had some training on the combi ovens also. One of the things that money was spent on was also a washer and dryer. We looked at what we were spending per month, and our linen, our laundry expenses was really high. So the previous director ordered a washer and dryer, so that got installed. And we've just been working on developing our procedures in that. So this summer we're doing a trial. We're trying to work all those little kinks out so that come August, end of August, we'll be able to provide all of our own linen services.
Can I ask a quick question on this slide?
Yes.
All of the positions that you filled, as you look ahead now to this fall and the start of the new school year, any open positions that you're aware of that are still open positions?
Yeah. One of the kitchen managers is retiring, so that position is open. And 2 of the cook cashiers are not returning. So.
Yeah. And what's a combi oven?
It's a high-tech oven. It's like a convection oven and also like a steamer. So it's a combination. So you can do the different modes of cooking.
Thank you.
I thought that was a typo and it was supposed to be combo oven. So thank you for explaining that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes. Last summer, with me just new on board as a director and new to the summer food service program, we had an administrative review. So I was kind of hit with that right away, but we were successful in completing that. So. And as I mentioned, one of the things that I wanted to focus on was the staff morale and building activities. So we provided lunch for all of the staff when we did our back to school workshop. A couple of the kitchen managers got together. They scheduled a get together at one of the local restaurants. So several of the employees were able to get together there. And then she had reached out to different businesses to give prizes. So that was really nice for the staff to just get some little prizes in that. So those are just, 2 of the big things that we did. And then I know in the kitchens, the kitchen managers have also tried to do some other the staff building things. So one of the big things that we focus on are the dietary needs, special dietary needs. And this is an area that has really grown over the last years. And it's really grown just in the time that I've been in Owatonna. I think we've almost doubled how many students are receiving a special dietary menu. And so I just thought I'd highlight that. This is something that does take quite a bit of time. The coordinator and I both work on making monthly carbohydrate counts for the menus for those individuals that require that. We do have lactose-reduced milk and specialty milk for 18 students. So some of those things we have to run to the grocery store to pick that up. And then writing up the specialty or the specialized dietary menus. Right now we're doing it for 49 students. So I believe when I started we were in the 20s. So we've added on, a good 20 in the last year. And these are just some of the variations of what we do. Gluten-free, that's become really big. Dairy-free, egg-free, peanut, nut, soy-free, sesame. We have modified texture, a low protein, and then we have a high calorie, high protein. And of all of these, we get some of the combinations too. So you can see that.
Can I ask a question there? So when you say you're doing specialized menus for 49 students, are those 49 unique menus, or are they 10 menus or 6 menus that accommodate 49 students?
Well, it's 49 students, so there are some that are repeats. So some of the elementaries, we might have 5 gluten-free elementary, but then we have gluten-free on the high school, which is going to be different. So when I counted the one time, I did like 83 menus one month. So, because I'm doing both breakfast and lunch for some of the students. And so, yeah.
And how do they request that?
It needs to come from their medical provider.
Okay.
So we are required to accommodate these when it is medically necessary. And it's within reason. We can't have, obviously, if a person has a specific type of food or milk that they drink, that brand, that type of thing, we don't necessarily have to provide that. But if they need like the coconut milk, then that is what we're required to provide. So I just went back for the last few years to show you the total reimbursable school meals that we've done. And you can just see from from last year to this year, our breakfast dipped down a little bit. Our lunches increased a little bit. So you can see when we were paid meals, obviously that took a dive down, but you can see how it's growing just with what we're doing in the kitchens. So the wellness, this year has been busy just with trying to get that staffing together and everything. And I feel like now that I kind of have that situated pretty well, I really want to focus more on the wellness. We were able to meet 3 times this last year. Things hadn't been done previously or since COVID. I mean, COVID kind of threw everything off, and I know in my previous district, the same thing happened to us where COVID just kind of, wellness went out the window. So we're kind of starting from ground zero again. We're establishing our committee. We are currently conducting the CDC School Health Index for each individual school, and that's really the point that we're at right now, where we need to evaluate each school. What do we need? Where are our strengths? Where are our weaknesses? What do we need to be focusing on? I know that a lot of things are being done in the schools. I've had different teachers reach out to me, and they've got some school gardens going, or some of these types of things. So I know that there are a lot of things going on in the school, but just from the wellness committee standpoint, we just need to start really see what is being done, and then really build from there too. And then we are also in the process of completing our triannual assessment, which we are required to do from MDE. And that is tied right into that school health index. So that is a work in progress. So what's next? As I mentioned, just building up the wellness committee and promoting the overall wellness in the district. As I mentioned too, prioritizing the team building by focusing on staff retention, strong attendance, and boosting morale. Hiring that new kitchen manager, and that'll be, good to get somebody new in there and build that up, and then fill those other couple positions. And then looking at doing a kitchen upgrade for Wilson. That's definitely a kitchen that needs some updating in that. So that is my presentation. I want to thank you.
Board, questions?
I'm grateful for the work that you do, especially around the allergies. And my son doesn't need a special menu at this point, but his allergies have changed over the years and definitely gotten better. But it's just really helpful to know as a parent that your kid is taken care of. So thanks for all your attention for that.
Thank you.
All right, Maria, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good report. Thank you. We're going to move on. Item 6 tonight would be general information, and there's one item in there. It's called Association of School Business Officials International. I'm going to turn things over to Dr. Champa for an explanation here. Thank you.
All right. As you said, this is a general item, but certainly an opportunity for us to recognize the work of Director Stotts and his entire finance team. with the work that you do, and just an opportunity to also say thank you. Questions you have?
Yeah, can you tell us what
Yes, so there's certain criteria.
Certificate of Excellence means?
Yes, so through the School Business Officials Organization, there are criteria, and if those thresholds are met, the district receives that Certificate of Excellence. And so it's not to be taken for granted, and certainly want to acknowledge it and celebrate.
Mark, congratulations.
Yeah, that's awesome. Has the district, is it tied to the district or the individual director, do you know?
It's tied to the finances of the district and how they're handled.
I don't recall having
Yeah, it's-
seen it before, have we?
Yeah, it's, the district has been in receipt of this for quite a long time.
Yes.
Yes, every year for, okay, this is that same award. Okay, awesome. Good.
Terrific. We will move on. Item 7 tonight would be discussion items, board forum, and if you don't mind, Ron, I'll start down on your end.
Sure. Just like one thing I thought of that I could bring to this is talk a little bit about the marching band. They had a very successful season this year, and my daughter participated in that. And they won grand champion at several parades. They beat Waconia for the first time ever, according to Mr. Ginther. And so they just had a very successful season. Just got back from a trip from Colorado. So they had a lot going on this year. They were in the Memorial Day parade this year, the first because I came back. So that was the first time in quite a while. So they had a really very successful season, and they're only losing, I think, like 9 seniors. So, and then finance, we haven't met, I don't think. So should be it. Yep.
I don't have much to add. A couple meetings ago, I was absent, and that was because I got to attend the showcase performance by our high school Mamma Mia group, and it was fantastic, and so many of our individual students got awards through that opportunity, and it was really great to see them on a professional stage doing their thing. It was great.
Just one comment. I heard from a parent whose child was on this Peru trip that we approved a while back. Yeah. A fabulous experience, I understand. So really exciting to see opportunities like that, opening our young people's eyes and minds and ears, and I imagine we'll see more.
Good. Thank you. I have nothing for board forum.
I can come back to policy
Okay.
maybe when you're done.
Okay, you're going to come back to policy?
Yeah, unless you want to. Okay.
I don't have anything else.
I don't have anything either.
I had a couple of things. First being a few student organizations, particularly student council, have began preparing for the upcoming school year.
Hey, Ayub, can you do me a favor? Flip that microphone toward you. Thank you.
A few student organizations have began preparing for the upcoming school year, one of them being Student Council, who has the honor of putting on homecoming for the school year. So yeah, we've started with that. Additionally, the fall sports have started their unofficial training seasons, which is fun to see. But yeah, that's all I have for now.
Thank you. Also in this area, we have policy revisions.
So I'll maybe jump in here and then my teammates, committee mates can add to it. So the first item here you see is, again, first reading, fairly straightforward, 3 policies. Sarah's got that nice summary for you to take a look at those changes, but really nothing particularly noteworthy. Some clarifications, particularly on student boundaries. And then I would just mention as explanation, so in item 8D, policies for review, within that consent agenda, and remember, we can pull this out if you don't want to approve it as a whole, but essentially that item D is really just bringing policies to your awareness that the committee has looked at, but we have made no changes. So we have a cadence and expectation that we look at policies on a regular basis, and we've done that, but there are no changes there, which is why technically we don't even have to bring them to the full board, but we just felt as a committee that it was appropriate to put them in front of you in the event there was anything you wanted to discuss. But that's why they're kind of just moving right through. Does that make sense? Anything else you guys would add?
You got it.
Good.
That's it?
Yeah, that is. Okay,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Item B in this area would be the administrative report, and it's an excellent opportunity to say welcome to Dr. Champa. We're glad you're here. It's day 6.
Day
And
6,
so
yes.
It's just a great opportunity for Dr. Champa to introduce herself to the community and say hello and bring us up to speed.
All right, well, Dr. Champa, just so incredibly excited to be here. This is day 6, and I sit here just filled with gratitude because I have been asking a lot of questions and meeting with a lot of people, many of you as well, and just from economic development to Rotary to just so many areas. And I just have to say thank you to Lori. Sarah is outstanding, and just the entire cabinet. So I have felt very welcome, and also just thank you to Superintendent Elstead because the transition has been good, and I'm just so excited for what's to come. This truly is a special place, and I have met so many amazing people already, and I am so anxious again to continue. So thank you. Welcome.
Good. We're glad you're here.
Thank you.
We're going to move on. Item 8 tonight would be the consent agenda, and as indicated, we will be approving the minutes from June 16th, the disbursement personnel, as well as the aforementioned policies for review. Anybody have any reason that you would like to see that pulled out, voted upon separately? Short of that, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
I move that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I'll turn it over to Tim for the roll call vote.
Ron?
Aye.
Andrea?
Aye.
Jolene?
Aye.
Lori?
Aye.
Mark?
Aye.
Elizabeth?
Aye.
And I'm an aye. 7-0 pass.
Motion carries. Excellent. Item 9 tonight would be a couple of items that require board action. The first would be the item A, the long-term facilities maintenance. Bob Olson is here. He'll be making his way up and making a quick presentation. A quick reminder, we always approve the long-term facilities maintenance forward-looking report at this time of the year. And Bob's here to give us a good bird's eye view of exactly what we're looking at.
Hey,
Thanks, Bob.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me tonight. Appreciate it. Is that on? Can you hear me?
Not very well.
Not very well. Hello? That's pretty close, and you can't hear me that well, so I apologize for that. Thank you for having, like Mark said, we are, I think this is about our 8th year coming forward to do our LTFM 10-year expenditures. Bottom line on this one is we get about $1.3 million a year from the state to bring into our district to help take care of all of our needs that we have. Looking at our district right now, I will say we are working with SiteLogic, and I'm going to not necessarily brag, but I'm going to tell you how good our facilities department is and what our district looks like right now. But they set out of a lot of schools that they work with, there's only one that they feel has better facilities when you look at external stuff, you have the internal stuff, you have the HVAC systems, you got your roofing systems, everything like that. There's only one other one, and that's Hopkins that they said, and Hopkins has a lot more money than we do. So as a facility director, I feel pretty proud and very grateful to our community that they've stepped up. Our community's really stepped up with that first bond that we had. The $76 million, that really got us over the hump on that one, and then with the new high school on the next one. So we are actually sitting in great shape right now as a district, and we have some other projects that we're doing right now, as you've already, that you know about. So what we're looking at right now is a 10-year plan on the expenditures, asking for your approval. You've taken a look at it. I know the print was probably this big, and Jolene, I know you had to raise the font a little bit. But we're looking for an approval tonight, and then I will have this turned in before July 31st to the state as they require. So,
Bob, anything noteworthy that, for instance, this coming school year, anything noteworthy that you guys are working on?
Yeah, there's a big one that you'll see, about $600,000 in interior surfaces. Right now, Lincoln Elementary, their cabinets are terrible, right? So we will be looking at replacing all the cabinets in there. That's probably going to be the largest project that we have for next year. But then then there's carpeting and there's flooring and things like that throughout other buildings that we'll be looking at as well. What we try to do is not have little projects going on at every school because, as you know, during the summer we don't shut down totally. We still have a lot of summer school and a lot of things going on. Middle school will have some, we'll be taking out the 9x9 asbestos tiles and getting those out of there and replacing them with LVT that we're putting in and getting all that stuff taken care of. So slowly but surely we're working our way to having zero asbestos in our district, and we're not there yet, but we're getting close. So those are two of the big ones.
Thanks. And this is a side thought, but we did have that presentation regarding the Rose Street Center, and it has nothing to do with your LTFM presentation, but for all practical purposes, pretty much everything's out of Rose Street, right?
For all practical reasons, we'll have it out by the time they need it. We still have some things in there, but we can get that thing taken out that fast.
Okay.
But yeah, we'll be ready for them if they end up going through with it. Yeah.
Board, any other questions regarding long-term facilities maintenance?
Can I just ask quickly,
Yeah.
how's the pool coming along?
The pool's coming along great. I actually just went over there today to take a look at it, and the tile is all in on the floor of the pool, and now they're working their way up the sides. And once they get to about this far from the top, they'll stop for a while, and then the new gutter system will go in, and there's welding and stuff that has to happen on that, so they don't want to get too close to it to wreck the tile. Then when that's done, they'll finish up with the tile, they'll get the lights in, and then we'll start filling it up with water. So knocking on wood, we're still on time and on budget, so we'll keep our fingers crossed that we're ready to go for swim season.
And when is the start of swim season? Are you talking August?
I knew you were going to ask me that. Yeah, like middle of August. I believe it's like the 9th or the
I would imagine,
16th or
right?
something similar to that,
Fall for
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
Practice starts that second Monday.
that second week, isn't it? Yeah.
Second Monday.
So we told them they need to be done over a week before that, because you can't just put a garden hose in and fill it up in 8 hours. It takes a long time. And then to heat it, yeah. So it's looking great, though. You're going to walk in, when you walk in the doors, you're going to see a 7x7 Husky in the tile, and it's going to look pretty cool. I've seen a picture of it. I haven't seen it hasn't come in yet, but I told our custodian, when that thing gets there, call me, because I want to go get a photo of it right away. It should look pretty neat.
Good. Any other questions? Hearing none, would one of you be kind enough to introduce this motion for us?
I move that the board approve the long-term facilities maintenance plan for its facilities for 2026 to 2035.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Bob, thank you very much. Lastly, gifts to the district. Your report included a very nice gift to the district that showed up on this report. Any questions as it relates to that? Looked really nice. Would one of you kindly introduce this motion?
I move that the board approve the resolution for acceptance of gifts as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Tim, if you would, please, roll call.
Ron.
Aye.
Andrea.
Aye.
Jolene.
Aye.
Lori.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Elizabeth.
Aye.
And I'm an aye. 7-0.
Motion carries. Thank you very much. I will make the motion that we adjourn.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor with an aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Good meeting. Thanks, folks.
Thank you.
Congratulations on your first meeting.